Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me again. Today I'm going to highlight the new campaign ad for former disgraced Missouri governor and current contender for the U.S. Senate, Eric Greitens. You're going to want to take a shower to wash the ick off after this, but we're going to do it. So grab a cuppa and I'll see you in a minute.
The last few months have been incredibly difficult for me, for my family, for my team, for my friends, and for many, many people that I love. This ordeal has been designed to cause an incredible amount of strain on my family. Millions of dollars of mounting legal bills, endless personal attacks designed to cause maximum damage to family and friends. Legal harassment of colleagues, friends, and campaign workers, and it's clear that for the forces that oppose us, there is no end in sight. I cannot allow those forces to continue to cause pain and difficulty to the people that I love.
4 years after resigning as governor of Missouri amid allegations of sexual abuse and misconduct most egregious, Eric Greitens is now in a crowded field of Republicans seeking to replace retiring Senator Roy Blunt. Some polls actually show this deeply disturbed man leading the race for the Republican nomination to the U.S. Senate. And rather than contributing to solutions to the problems faced by everyday Missourians, Greitens is spending his time bragging about his loyalty to Trump, releasing tone-deaf, violent, and disturbing campaign ads, encouraging his followers to hunt political opponents with guns, and making the rounds on these far-right, crazy proprietors of propaganda that are utterly devoid of anything that can loosely be described as news, like Newsmax and One America News Network. He's actually bragging about being endorsed by Sebastian Gorka, who was, and I'm using air quotes, an advisor to Trump. And, also a sworn member of a quasi-Nazi Hungarian nationalist group that collaborated with and turned thousands upon thousands of Jewish people over to the Nazis, exposing the Trump administration's vetting process to be less stringent than McDonald's. And Rudy Giuliani's also given him the go. The guy who careened from one embarrassing public debacle to the next, from melting hair to ridiculous lies, Bloody Mary-fueled tirades, to his surprise appearance in Borat's video showing the good mayor digging his hands down into his pants, thinking he was going to get lucky with a 15-year-old. The guy trying to hold on to the last vestiges of dignity that has long fled because even it didn't want to be around him anymore. And Greitens' national campaign manager is this woman.
Because they told you and brainwashed you and fed you lies. Stand for an American president who is fearless, who believes in you, and who loves this country. Ladies and gentlemen, leaders and fighters for freedom and liberty, the best is yet to come.
That's right. Donald Trump Jr.'s blow-up doll, Kimberly Guilfoyle. The woman who obviously took the Sam Kinison emoting class at Trump University was bad. I mean, the room was empty. Why was she yelling like that? That was very disturbing. And what was up with that fake North Korean-inspired enthusiasm? It's like someone filled her up with helium and then popped her, and all that just came rushing out. And I don't trust anyone who smiles without any emotion on their face. I mean, if it's Botox, Someone needs to back off those injections. And if it's not Botox, well, then she's Starkers. So either way, really, that was just embarrassing. And that woman is Greitens' national campaign manager.
I'm Eric Greitens, Navy SEAL, and today we're going rhino hunting. The rhino feeds on corruption and is marked by the stripes of cowardice. Join the MAGA crew, get a rhino hunting permit. There's no bagging limit, no tagging limit, and it doesn't expire until we save our country.
Until we save our country? From what? Lunatics like him? Save our country from the Constitution and the rule of law? Like, I mean, people who disagree with you now can just hunt you down like you're an animal? There's no excuse for this. This glorifies political violence. He's urging his followers to grab their guns and hunt down people who he disagrees with. This has been flagged by Twitter and removed by Facebook. Today we're going rhino hunting, he says, with a smile, as he slides that action on his shotgun there. The rhino feeds on corruption and is marked by the stripes of cowardice. Get a rhino hunting permit. There's no bagging limit, no tagging limit, and it doesn't expire till we save our country? First of all, these cretins, this is so embarrassing. They don't even know what the real definition of a rhino is. Now, to them, it just means anyone not loyal to Trump. And it's especially ironic coming from the walking, sputtering textbook definition of a rhino, Donald Trump, and people like Greitens, who, they're the real rhinos here. He says in an interview, you've watched the way the mainstream media and the left have attacked President Trump for years because he was a conservative. He was an outsider too. Okay. The fact that he considers Trump a conservative, in my mind, completes the dumbing down of the Republican Party. Stick a fork in it. It's no longer honorable men informed by their faith and conservative values. It's followers and bootlickers to an immoral, corrupt traitor who's trying to destroy the Constitution and replace it with whatever maniacal whimsy he can think up, no matter how fascist or how immoral or how evil. This is their shining example of a Republican, a conservative, with Republican and conservative values?
Then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or?
And this is the bad guy who received death threats while his daughter was dying, just because he wouldn't break the law for Trump. This is the bad guy in Trump world.
I will not do that. And on more than one occasion throughout all this, that has been brought up, and it is a tenet of my faith that the Constitution is divinely inspired of my most basic foundational beliefs. And so for me to do that because somebody just asked me to is foreign to my very being. I will not do it. Thank you very much. It is painful to have friends who have been such a help to me turn on me with such rancor. I may, in the eyes of men, not hold correct opinions or act according to their vision or convictions, but I do not take this current situation in a light manner, a fearful manner, or a vengeful manner. I do not want to be a winner by cheating. I will not play with laws I swore allegiance to, with any contrived desire towards deflection of my deep foundational desire to follow God's will as I believe He led my conscience to embrace. How else will I ever approach Him in the wilderness of life, knowing that I ask this guidance only to show myself a coward in defending the course He let me take. He led me to take.
No, at some point, I might, but at some point I hope they get it, because it's a fantastic financial statement. It's a fantastic financial statement. And let's do that over. He's coughing in the middle of my answer.
Yeah, okay.
I don't like that, you know?
Your chief of staff.
If you're going to cough, please leave the room.
Get a shot of, and I'll come over here.
You just can't.
Just to change the shot.
Okay.
Sorry.
So thoughtful, inspired Republican statesmen like Bowers are being replaced by people like the Great Orange Goofus, whose penchant for verbal masturbation is equaled only by the trained parrots who say pretty boy into the mirror in their cages all day long. It's not about conservative values. How could it be? Even people who spent years with their heads up Trump's keister deserve no loyalty if they don't kowtow to his increasingly deranged ideas. There are no boundaries. And these people being called rhinos, they haven't changed their ideology or their beliefs. They've pushed back for moral or legal reasons against what Trump wanted them to do. If people won't swallow his fascist, un-American, unconstitutional, immoral inclinations, they're the problem, not him. So you get people like Greitens, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, all with terrible track records for the way they've treated and used people. So Greitens resigned in disgrace from his position of governor in 2018 when a woman accused him of alleged sexual misconduct during an affair they started in 2015. She said that he brought her to his basement, tied her up, took her clothes off, and took a photograph of her without her consent. The woman said that the photograph was used as he blackmailed her if she ever disclosed not only that event but the affair that they had. Then his ex-wife alleged in a sworn statement in a court filing that Greitens committed acts of physical violence against her and the couple's very small children, threatening to kill himself, made threats to kill her. Also in that sworn statement, Mrs. Greitens said that Eric admitted to her in January 2021 that he did take that photograph and that she would be exposed to legal jeopardy if she told anyone about it, including her family or her therapist. She testified in 2018, about a month before he resigned, that he knocked her down during an argument, confiscated her cell phone, wallet, and keys. And when her mother confronted him about the incident, he said it was to prevent his wife from doing anything that might damage his political career, like what he was doing wasn't damaging his political career. Never take responsibility. God, so much in the Trump mold. And some Republicans have been leery of Greitens' candidacy, worried that his questionable past could cost the party what should otherwise be a safe Senate seat in deeply red Missouri. Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt, who's also running in the Republican primary, said the allegations were disgusting and sickening, and that Eric should leave the race. The behavior described in this affidavit is cause for Eric Greitens to be in prison, not on the ballot for U.S. Senate. Schmidt wrote, he should end his campaign immediately. U.S. Representative Vicky Hatzler, a Republican, said in a video statement that it was time for Eric to get out of the race and seek professional help. She said real men never abuse women and children, period, end of story. Lucas Kuntz, a Missouri Democrat, also running for Senate, said he agreed with Hatzler and went further to suggest that Eric Greitens should be in jail. Scott Sifton, a former Missouri state senator, current Democratic candidate, said Eric Greitens was unfit to serve in office. He said his well-established pattern of conduct shows he has no business representing Missouri. I called on him to resign as governor 4 years ago, and today I'm calling on him to withdraw from the U.S. Senate race. Even denizen of Crazy Town, Republican Senator Josh Hawley, called for Eric Greitens to abandon the race. If you hit a woman or a child, you belong in handcuffs, not the United States Senate. Greitens' campaign so far has offered no indication that he will consider leaving the contest. But here's my problem. The Republicans opened their party up to this, to people like Greitens, to men who abuse women and children, people who have no moral compass, as they hide behind a religion. It didn't start with Trump, who bragged about sexually assaulting women and peeping in on underage girls at his Miss Teen USA pageants when they were undressed because he could get away with it. He owned the brand. All these Republicans created this kind of monster by supporting him when he said he could sexually assault women because of who he was and not get in trouble. The overthrow of the Republican Party was completed with Trump. And people so hungry for power or so embedded in the cult that they're willing to embarrass themselves on epic levels for the entire world to see, crawl and scrape after Trump in hopes of his approval. People willing to do whatever Trump wants without any regard to the substance of the ask, or the morality of the ask, or the lawfulness of the ask. The Republican Party owns now. It's the party of science deniers. It's the party of neo-Nazis, of white nationalists, willful conspiracy theorists. And what I mean by that is people who abjectly refuse to believe the real truth when it intersects with and disproves their insane conspiracy theories. It's the party of violent extremists who threaten to kill the 5-month-old baby of someone in their own party because he is sitting on a panel that's exposing truths that are inconvenient to them and to Trump. A party that harasses, bullies, and threatens to murder poll workers because the guy they supported didn't win. It's people who think they have the right to toss out the Constitution and overthrow the government because their guy lost a free and fair election. The Republican Party is enshrined now in the ideology, and it wears the mantle. We do not care if any factual evidence exists to support our core beliefs. And I always say, when you create a monster, it will eventually turn on you. As all of these people, all of these Trumpers, people that worked for him in the White House, were his attorneys, people that supported him, they've all discovered this. And Trump's followers, they're so blind, they're not looking at what's happening to people that support Trump. They get hung out to dry. The monster you create will eventually turn on you. And if you think that is anything other than true, you too are in for a rude awakening. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you spending time with me. If no one has told you today that you're important and that you matter, you are and you do. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you. I hope to see you soon.